Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So good to see you after such a long time.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Shraddha Mataji.
How are you all doing?
Mataji.
Good.
Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to all of you. Fantastic. So should we get started here?
Yes, definitely, Mataji. Happy Ekadashi to everyone, by the way.
Happy Ekadashi. I'm just doubly fortunate to be able to do Krishna Katha on Ekadashi day.
Yeah.
And we are also fortunate, Mataji, to hear Krishna Katha from you.
Yeah.
Krishna Katha is beneficial for everybody. One who speaks it, one who hears it, and everybody else in between. So that is true. That is true. Yeah, what a fantastic way of spending the weekend and to dedicate our times on a weekend to Krishna Katha. So very, very grateful to you about that. And we'll get started momentarily, but I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce my dear god sister, Sumi Chaudhary, who's joining us here today from New York. So Sumi Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hopefully you can hear.
We can hear and we also want to see.
We want to see you.
Okay,
At some point in the lecture, at least, yeah. I don't want to put you on the spot. Yeah, and maybe others as well. Yeah, so once everybody's in a position to share their cameras, then at that time we'll have a more elaborate introduction. So we were just talking yesterday, Sumi and I. So Sumi is born and brought up in America, and which is always a very fascinating thing for me to see when souls born and brought up in America take to Krishna consciousness. So at a young age, she has taken shelter of Guru Maharaj. So that's a big thing there. So I'm very happy, and very happy also to see Sukomal Radhe Mataji and Vindhyavali Mataji, Archana Mataji, Astha Mataji, and Garima Mataji. And I see someone on iPhone. I don't recognize that. That is Sutapa Mataji.
Prabhupada.
And the laptop is not working, so I have joined from here. I'm trying.
Fantastic. That's very good. Okay, so we are broadcasting this on Facebook and also on my YouTube channel. And like all of you know that, this is a new Facebook and it is working. So I'm glad. So we'll get started. We're meeting after such a long time. I'm eager to discuss Bhagavad-gita with you all today. And it's a long time we did that, right? And so we'll do that after these brief prayers to the spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so which chapter of Bhagavad Gita are we doing these days? Which one?
Third.
Chapter 3rd. Thank you. Yes, chapter 3rd. 50 points for Sukamalate Mataji for remembering that and speaking up. It's important for you all to speak up. Don't be shy. And and which verse? Anybody remembers that? Are ready?
20?
No.
No?
I have my page on 28 or 29. It is.
28 to 29? Did we
We
go that
jumped that
far?
much?
Yeah, you missed them,
What
yeah,
happened
right?
to
Because
me
of
then?
you were busy with your granddaughter, right? Yeah.
No, Mataji, I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm in Philadelphia.
No. I was saying, remember, but Prerna, you had to take some time with her. So you did do that. Actually, today is verse number 30.
Okay.
So I'm going to put all speculation to to sleep here.
I
And I'm
missed
going to start
Mataji.
sharing. Doesn't matter. You can go to YouTube now and listen to the recording. And so I'm going to start sharing my screen. If you can tell me that you can see Bhagavad Gita on the Veda base here. So anyone can confirm? Do you see it or not?
Not yet.
No,
Not
Mataji.
yet.
Not yet.
All right. So tell me, do you do it now?
Yes,
Now we
Mataji.
do.
Yes, Mataji.
Alrighty, Hare Krishna. So that chapter number 3 is about Karma Yoga, and that is how do we get connected to Krishna through karma, through work, right? And we saw in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Mayeva mana adhatsva, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, niveshisei Mayeva atha urdhvam na sansaya. So he says that you put your mind on me and then you will live in me, and that's going to happen very quickly. And how very quickly? The moment you put your mind really on Krishna, then it happens like that. So, and then he also says, Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyaneva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samuddirta mithya samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chitatam. So he says that one who abandons and gives up everything and puts his mind and everything on me, then I will deliver him from this ocean of birth and death. Bhavami na chirat partha. Again, it's not going to take long time, right? And so that is what Krishna wants us to do, right? And then he knows that it's a very difficult thing for us to do, especially in this Kali Yuga. And why in this Kali Yuga? Because we heard that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which we are also reading in parallel some days. And we read that in the very first chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam, where the sages who are assembled in Naimisharanya, they're talking to Sutta Goswami. And the head of the sages, Shaunak Rishi, he says that the people of Kali Yuga are short-lived. They are unfortunate. They are misguided. And, above all, they are always disturbed. So when you're always disturbed, how are you going to put your mind on Krishna? So Krishna knows that. And then he starts, going down the yoga ladder. And he says, well, if you can't put your mind on me, then do some worship. Okay? Atha chittam samadhatum na saknoshi mayi sthiram. If you're not able to put your mind and hold it there, hold it there. Atha chittam samadhatum na saknoshi mayi sthiram abhyas yogena tato mam ichhatam dhananjaya. So he says, okay, if you cannot do that, then you do some practice for me, right? And then abhyase api ashaktosi. Then we come and say, Krishna, how can I do any abhyas for you? I have got such a horrible job. I have to work from morning till midnight. How will I ever do that? So then he says, okay, abhyasi api asaktosi mat karma parmo bhava. And that is where this third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is, kind of getting in there and wedging in. And he says, mat karma parmo bhava. So if you cannot do deity worship, you will say, I'm like very far from the temple. I can't manage the temple timing. Then, okay, do something for me. So what are some of the things that you can do for Krishna?
Listen to Katha. Krishna
You can
Katha.
listen to Katha. Okay, that's passive. Something active. Well, Katha, listening is also an active act, actually. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Yeah.
Chanting.
Chanting.
Cooking.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Deity worship.
Yeah, deity worship, chanting, I would put those in the first category.
Okay.
Atha chittam samadhatam na saknosi mayasam abhyas yogena tato. That comes under abhyas. You're practicing devotional service. So
Right.
deity worship, chanting, they go there.
Devotional service every day.
Right. So abhyas yogena tato. So do something for Krishna. Go distribute his books. Go cook for him. Go chop. Go clean the temple. Go welcome people. Make websites for him. Make programs for him. Make music for him. All that is, mat karma paramo bhava. Madhartam api karman. Purvam siddhim avapsasi. Then you will attain perfection if you do that. Athetad api. And then we say, oh Krishna, we don't have time. I don't have talent. Athetad api ashaktosi. Kartum mat yogam ashtita sarva karma phala tyagam tatha kuru yathatman. So he says that, okay, if you cannot do that also, you can't put your mind on me, you can't do worship for me, you cannot do any work for me. Okay, you're working, you're making those $1 million. Okay, give something for me, put something in the hundi. And why does he say put something in the hundi? Because it'll take back to the first step. Because the moment you put things in the hundi, all that we are thinking is, why did I put that money in the hundi? I was carried away by the powerful speech that the temple president gave, and I took my money and I put it in the hundi. What's going to happen to this? I have got this to take care of, that to take care of, that to take care of. And all the time, why did I do it for Krishna? So you are thinking of Krishna. And that is what Krishna told you to do in the first place, right? Put your mind on me. So mind on Krishna can come in various ways, but thinking of Krishna in that way is not a very conducive thing. But it's still, Krishna is so powerful. Even if you think of Krishna by way of, worrying, why did you give money to Krishna, or in anger, or as enmity, it has its beneficial effect, but that is not pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is anyabhyashtita sunyam gyan karmadi navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti muttama. So it says that anyabhyashtita shunyam, it should be devoid of any desires that we have. Anyabhyashtita shunyam gyan karmadi navritam, there should not be a desire to gain gyan. Karmadi or any karmakandi activities. I want this and I want that. So I'm doing devotional service to Krishna. I'm keeping fast. Today's Ekadashi. I'm only going to drink water because I want a beautiful husband, or I want more money. I want a promotion, long life, beautiful body, anything. I could be doing that. So not for that, right? So jnana karmadina anukulyena krishnanu. So that's a very important thing. Anukul, it has to be in parallel with Krishna, not orthogonal to Krishna. After all, chanting of the holy names of the Lord was also done by Kamsa, right? Kamsa was also saying, where is Krishna? Where is Vishnu? Let me kill him. So he was chanting the word Vishnu so many times, right? But that is not pure devotional service. So it will not lead to what is the ultimate object of devotional service, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about this yoga ladder that you can climb, right? First give some money, and then, you have to do something for Krishna. Then once you start doing this, then you'll get elevated and you will raise to a higher platform on the devotional ladder. Then you start doing deity worship, and then you ultimately are able to engage your mind in Krishna. And these things will lead to higher, one thing will lead to the higher rung. And no hurry, no worry, everybody carries on their own pace. However, if you have been introduced to Bhakti Yoga, then after this class, you don't have to think that I have to now climb the ladder because Shraddha-mati told us about the ladder. If you're already on the top ladder, then you stay on the top ladder. No need to come down and walk back up, right? Because Bhakti takes you to Krishna very, very quickly. So in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga. He'll talk about devotional service, which I talked to you just now, but that's 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So he's going to talk about Karma Yoga here. And he's telling Krishna, Arjuna in verses that, what you should do. He walked, through in the beginning, I created yagyas and I wrote, made the Vedas available to you. So you follow the Vedas and live life properly in cooperation with the demigods, and then you'll come back to me. And then slowly, we don't do that. And then he's telling that, well, you know what, this is the fate that ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So in the previous verse it says prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasa. So we know that everything that is happening here in this material world is happening because of the way and the modes of material nature react with each other. But we think that we are the doers. Ahankara vimudhatma. So we have become stupefied by that false knowledge that I am this body and I think that I am doing everything. And then he says that the wise men do not do that. The wise men know that they are not the body and that they are the soul. But then in the previous verse, we also read that, however, the wise men will still continue to behave as if they are acting like normal people. And the reason they do that is because they do not want to bewilder those who are the foolish, right? And so when somebody comes and says, now we all know that Krishna has to be worshipped, right? You should not worship the demigod. But if you find somebody is worshipping the demigod, and if you go and tell them that, hey, you know what, you worship the demigods and this is wrong, they're going to tell you that my grandmother did it, my grandfather did it, my mother did it. So I don't think what you're saying is right. And so it is like casting pearls before a swine, as they say, right? So there is no point. Let them do whatever they are doing. We are not in a position to change them that way. However, what we can do is, when we are positioning Krishna consciousness to them, and they are, some bhaktas of some other Bhairav Baba or something like that, then let them do that. But you also tell them that once in a while you chant the name of Krishna, because Krishna's name is very powerful. So when they see you as a friendly person who, respects what they are doing, doesn't condemn them for whatever they have been doing for generations altogether, but is a friendly person, offer them prasadam and wait for prasadam and the holy name of Krishna to take its effect, right? So that was up till now what we read in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gita. So now we're ready to go into the verse for today, which is verse number 30th. And I'm going to start sharing the screen again with you, and please confirm that you can see it. So sharing?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jwaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jwaraha. So let's look at the synonyms. Mai, unto me, sarvani, all sorts of, karmani, activities, sanyasya, giving up completely, adhyatma, with full knowledge of the self, chetasa, by consciousness, nirashihi, without desire, for profit, nirmamaha, without ownership, bhutva, so being, yudhasva, fight, vigata jwaraha, without being lethargic. Okay, so let's look at that. What is adhyatma chetasa? What does adhyatma chetasa mean?
With full knowledge of the
Knowledge of the self.
consciousness.
By the conscious, being very conscious and have the right knowledge of the self. Okay. What does all sorts of mean? All sorts of.
Sarvani.
Karmani.
Sarvani. What
Sarvani.
does fight mean?
Yudhyasva.
Okay. And if I said,
Sarvani, all sorts of.
yeah, I was asking fight now, so yudhasva.
Yudhasva. Yudhasva.
And then without ownership.
Vigata jwaraha.
Nirasha. Nirashi.
Without
Nirmamaha.
ownership. Without ownership.
Yeah, okay.
Nirmamaha.
Nirmamaha, right? Nirmamaha. So ownership, without. Mamaha means ownership, and nir, adding a nir makes it a negative, so it becomes without ownership. Okay, very good. And if you are without any lethargy, then what is it?
Vigata Jwaraha.
Jwaraha.
Okay, very good, right? And if you have to give up something completely,
Sanyasya.
Sanyasya.
Sanyas.
yeah, okay, very good. And if somebody doesn't have any desires, what do you call that in Sanskrit?
Nirashihi.
Nirashyaha.
Huh?
Nirashihi.
Nirashihi.
Nirashihi. Yeah, nirashihi. Okay. So these are some important words. Keep those in mind as we go into the translation. Therefore, and the therefore was coming from two things. One was ahankara vimhudatma karta hamiti manyate, the foolish thing they are doing. And the second was coming from the do not disturb the foolish. Right? So continue to do, and live a normal life, so-called. So translation, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad-gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the internal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasaha. Nirashihi means that one has to act as on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kingsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one becomes vigata jwaraha, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation, back to Godhead. Okay, so I'll pause here and take some reflections from you based on what you heard.
Hare Krishna Mataji, then with Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dandut Pranam, Archana Mataji, good to see you. And
Yes.
others, just raise your hand so that I know who's in order. And Archana, go ahead. Yeah, raise your hand electronically. Yeah, I can see you all. Okay.
Sorry Mataji, I did not wave my hand.
Yeah, no problems. Yeah.
Okay, so Mataji, this purport is very nice by Srila Prabhupada, and especially the word nirmama struck me. So many words are there, but nirmama is very important from devotee point of view, because nothing is mine in this world other than Krishna. He is the sole proprietor of everything. So as a devotee, we can just say that nothing in this world is mine, neither this body, nor these bodily relationships, nor this world, other than Krishna, because we are his, eternal parts and fragments of Krishna. So we actually belong to him. So we are eternal, and he is eternal, and that's why we are eternal. So that relationship is actually eternal. Rest, everything is temporary, I would say, or impermanent. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Anybody else? Dindavali Mataji, you have raised your hands.
Actually, the same thing I thought of telling, but
Okay.
I found another one also, Prabhu Mataji. So without that one who depends solely and wholly in the Supreme Soul, without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious is called Adhyatma Chetasa Nirashe. Means that one has to act in the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results.
Yeah. Very good. Anybody else wants to share? Okay, so to take up, did I see a hand go up? Asta, go ahead.
Hare Krishna
And-
Mataji.
Yeah, if you're done, then yeah, put down your hands. Okay, yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Asta.
Hanji Mataji. Mataji, regarding the thing where it is mentioned that we should not ask for personal benefit and we should only like be selfless in terms of bhakti. It is very true and one should follow this. But can we like we are in the material world and we are not if we are not asking for the material thing, can we like ask for a good health?
And good health is not material?
It is material, but Mataji, until unless we are in this body, we need to keep the body healthy to
Do what?
worship the Lord and to
Right. So
Yeah.
now that is now is that a material desire?
no.
No. Do you see? So the moment you connect things to Krishna, and that's what Krishna is trying to tell to Arjuna, right? So Arjuna in the previous chapter had said that, how can I kill? Right? How can I kill all these people? In fact, he also said, Kinno bhogena rajena. That if all my friends and relatives and my grandparents and father-in-law and uncles, if all are dead, and then I win the whole kingdom, then kinno bhogena, how will I bhog it? How will I enjoy all this? Right? So there, Arjuna is thinking about his own enjoyment. So people can think about good things. People can think about doing good things or not doing bad things, like, killing. A bad thing, so to speak, is to kill your grandfather is a bad thing, right? But he's doing he's saying, I won't do the bad thing, but look at the intention behind it. He's saying, if I kill all of them, what am I going to enjoy? So the thing is still moving towards me, and where I'm saying that I want to enjoy, right? But when you connect things to Krishna, and even every small thing, for example, I want to stay healthy, not because, being healthy makes me feel good, but because I want to stay healthy so that I can do devotional service to Krishna. That's a totally different desire, right? Having said that, and also mentioned that there is something known as the yoga ladder, where we are, focusing on that people could be in different stages of devotional service or progress in devotional service, right? So when we are in that stage, then what will I do? I have material desires; they have not finished completely, right? So what should I do? I'm in a very uncomfortable position, because what I do with all these desires that come, right? So we see that in Srimad Bhagavatam and in the pastimes of Krishna. So you see the devotees of Vrindavan, whenever something happens, whenever there is some catastrophe that is coming, they start praying to Krishna. Why? Because they don't know anything other than Krishna. So when you are at that stage of devotional service, then it's okay for people to, but as a natural sequence, as a natural consequence, they will do that, because they have understood their relationship with Krishna, right? But in the beginning, when we don't know, and that's what Krishna says in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Chaturvidha bhajante ma jana sukritino Arjuna, artho jigyasu artharti, jnani cha bharatrishabha. So what that means is that he's saying that 4 types of people tend to worship me, right? Artho is that those who are distressed. Artharti, those who need something for their own benefit. Jigyasu, they are curious, right? And then Jnani, one who knows that there is God and now is trying to find God, who is God, right? So it's okay. It's okay to ask things of Lord Krishna because you think that you have a relationship with Krishna. So don't ask things of the demigod, because that's bribing. right? But if you want a few adjustments here and there in life, and you can't do without those adjustments if you feel, then it's okay to ask Krishna about it, because ultimately even what the demigods give you come from Krishna only, right? So on material desire, even if you have some material desire, go to Krishna. If your material desires are slowly getting converted into spiritual, go to Krishna. If you're so talking about nirashi, right? Asha means hope, right? Or desire. And so nirashi means the one who doesn't have any desire. So we have to remember that here in this particular words, Krishna is talking about material desires. He's not talking about spiritual desires. Can you tell me what kind of spiritual desires can a person have?
To have to get more Krishna conscious in life.
To be more Krishna conscious? Yes, very good. What else
To
can
be
you
with the
desire?
devotees.
To be with the devotee, association of devotee, you can desire that. Yeah.
Mataji, like Asta Mataji just mentioned that we should have the good health so that we can serve Krishna.
Okay.
Means good health means I'm talking about every part of our body, like hands, eyes, everything we need to do that. So.
Okay. Okay.
Like to perfect our sadhana, like our devotional service, like for example, not creating offenses while chanting.
Okay. So to do high quality japa is a desire. Right?
Yeah.
Can you desire Lakshmi?
No. Well,
You can if you
right.
give it to all to
You want to
Krishna.
give it to the mandir.
Yeah.
Right.
So you see how when you connect things with Krishna, how is that? It's not even something that seemed like such a mundane thing as to go after Lakshmi. It's okay. And this is what Krishna is telling, that when Arjuna, that you are saying that you're not going to fight, but here Prabhupada says he's giving him like as if it's a military command. It's a military command. He says that I have told you to fight, you better fight. Simple, it's a command. And Prabhupada also says in the purport that a person should not have to think about what is that order. You just do or die. That's how the military people say. Now today, Varshana Mataji is not here, a military lady, but with a military background. Not that she's militant, she's a sweet nature, like that, right? So we have to be. So he's saying that you act under the instructions of Krishna, and when you act under the instructions of Krishna, then you will be free of all the karmic reactions. When you start to do, when you want to do things for yourself, that is when the problem really starts. And then you will have the karmic reaction. You wanted to enjoy something, so you went out and earned money, and you earned money by dubious ways. So then you will have a karmic reaction for that, like that, right? So Krishna later on will also tell Arjuna that, nimitta matra bhava savya sachin. It's like, just be an instrument. I've already decided to kill all of them. And I'm telling you that you become an instrument and you kill. And in doing that, you will not incur any sinful activities, right? So the problem with Arjuna is that, he is still or behaving as if he's in the material concept of the body. And here he used the word adhyatma chetasaha. As long as you are in the material consciousness of the body, and as long as you think that you are the body, I am, like mama, and I am something, and I have something. So because you think that you're the body, then things which are in relationship with your body are also yours. So I am this body, and this body works, and this body earns money. Through that money, I purchased a car, so it is my car. I purchased a house, so it is my house. And I am the Lord of this house, and my rule will prevail in this house because I paid all the installments, like that, right? So we think like that, right, in the material consciousness. And then this is my wife, this is my husband, these are my children, this is my community, this is my city, this is my state, this is my country, this is my planet. So this mamatva can, exceed. And actually, Bhagavad-gita begins on this. Who speaks the first sloka in Bhagavad-gita?
Krishna.
Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra, very
Dhritarashtra.
good for 500 points, right? So Sanjay is narrating, and then so Dhritarashtra Vacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. So he's saying that Mamaka Pandavaschaiva. So he's asking that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Mamaka, my sons, right? And the sons of Pandu, right? They're my sons. Although it was a joint family. And you know, in the traditional Indian culture, if you are in a joint family, it's very difficult to distinguish between the cousins. They all behave as if they are brothers and sisters. Like that. So, but he was making that distinction. And why was he making that distinction? Because he was in the bodily concept and he was segregating. This is coming from my lineage. The Kurus are here, Kauravas are here. And then the Pandavas are the sons of my brother. So they are somebody different because of the body. Forgetting the connection that Mame Vansha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna says in 15th chapter that each one of us is a part and parcel of Krishna. So if everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna, what's the difference? What's the difference between a Kaurav and a Pandav? They're all the same. So when you reach that high level of consciousness in your progress in your devotional service, then you will start thinking like that. But in the beginning, it doesn't happen that way. However, one of the things to keep in mind about this particular verse is that, you know, this verse is the essence of Bhagavad-gita. Essence of Bhagavad-gita says, surrendering all your works unto me. Said, all that you are doing, everything that you're doing, you surrender all your works unto me with full knowledge of me. So it's very important that, you know, you have to surrender to him. You should have full knowledge of Krishna. You should have no desires for profit. So nirashihi, right? With no claims to proprietorship, right? Nirmama bhutva, right? And free from lethargy, you fight. You know, vigata jvara, it's free from lethargy. And it's very, very important. And I have been telling this so often that Krishna is actually engaged in a legal battle with Arjuna. Arjuna has talked the whole chapter in a few verses in the 2nd chapter, and he has put his case. This is my case. Right? If I kill them, Varna Sankara will be born. What will happen to the ladies? What will happen to this? My hands will be, you know, filled with, you know, stained with the blood of killing my gurus, of killing my my elders, and so on. So he has submitted his case, and now Krishna is, you know, putting his counterattacking everything that he says, and he's very, very careful, and he knows Arjuna's mind because Arjuna is good. He's a Kshatriya. He's good at fighting. So it's a nice little conversation, argument that is happening between the two friends, right? So he says a couple of things. He says one of them is that, you know, okay, nirmamo, right? Nirashihi, have no desire. Arjuna is going to say, I have no desire to fight. I have no desire to win, right? He can say that. Why not, right? That's what nirashi means. I have no desire to be the lord of this whole planet. I'm fine. Being a beggar, give me five villages, I'll be happy over there. So immediately Krishna says, Vigataha jvaraha. Vigata jvara means free from lethargy. So Krishna consciousness does not mean that you will sit on one side and just say, I'm not doing anything. I only take prasadam. No. Devotional service means activity. Lot of activity. Can you tell me, give me an example of someone in devotional service who did a lot of activity? Any names that come to your mind when you look around?
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, thank you so much, Garima Mataji. At the age of 69, coming on a ship, right, to a country that he didn't know, with a heavy Bengali accent, with 40 rupees in his pocket, and a deteriorating health, into a very materialistic continent. And what did he do? He established 108 temples, translated more than 100 books, gave lectures, so many lectures, made 5,000 disciples, circumambulated this planet 14 times. Until the last breath he was dictating and translating the scriptures for us. That is Vigata Jvara. Otherwise, what happens with us? is that, nowadays it's getting a little bit cold, the alarm goes off, and it's like, oh, I just want to snooze for 15 minutes. Let me just do that. And then another time. And before 45 minutes have gone. And now you have to hurry. So now there's no time for me to chant. Okay, I will chant tomorrow. Like that, it happens. Right? But we have to be vigata jwaraha. You have to be free from lethargy. A devotee works really, really hard. Really, really hard. And he doesn't care. The beauty is that he will not care. So the same Arjuna, when he was in the bodily concept and talking the bodily concept, ultimately when he listens to Krishna, and what does Krishna say? Krishna here also was saying that you give up everything, surrendering all your works unto me. And Prabhupada gives such a nice example. Prabhupada gives such a nice example of a person who is in a bank, right? The cashier in the bank just counts the money. He doesn't keep the money to himself. He's doing it for somebody else. Right? He's doing it for somebody else, but also, he also said one more thing. Krishna added one more clause. So Krishna is just adding so many clauses. Surrender everything to me. Also don't have any desires, and the list goes on. And in the end, free from lethargy, you fight. This is an order that I'm giving you, right? And so when you are working for Krishna, you have to work for Krishna, but he says, without any desires. Because I can work for Krishna and harbor some desires in my heart. He's saying, don't do that. So I want to do work for somebody without any desires. How will my consciousness reach that stage that I'll be able to do work for somebody without any desires of gain from doing that service? So now tell me, have you ever done any service for anybody without any desires?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Meera Mataji.
Actually, as soon as I read this verse right now while you were reading, it really dawned on me like, oh, wow, to be really Krishna consciousness and doing all my work. Because today I went to the store, and while I was coming out, there was this very young lady with 2 kids. And she had held a board saying husband deported just recently, and she would love any help. So I had things in my car. I loaded in my hand. I went and loaded my groceries, and then I took money out and I went to give it to her. She was very, very happy to receive whatever I gave her. But at that time, I wasn't as Krishna consciousness as like until I read this. So, and she was very grateful, very happy. And then I was walking towards the car, and I go, oh, should I just go back? I went back to her and I said, Hare Krishna to her. And I said, oh, that really means there's the highest blessing. If you want, you can get. And she became very happy. And I had the Bhagavad-gita in my car, but it didn't click to me to give it to her. And right now, when I'm sitting here and listening to you, it's like, oh, what else? The depth of my feeling, how could I have had more feeling to it, or was I doing it half-heartedly? Even for me, I'm not too sure what my answer is, because last week I made some rice, just plain rice with I wanted more protein in it. So I had some garbanzo beans and black beans, and I mixed it up and I packed it for homeless people. But I had pasta, just some sauce with me, and it had garlic and onions. So I didn't really offer prasadam. I did mix it for the taste. And while mixing it, I was just saying Maha-mantra. And I just made 4 boxes, and whoever I met, the homeless person, I gave it to them. They were all very happy. So I'm just wondering, while reading this, I know I wasn't all that Krishna conscious, like this verse says. So how do you get more Krishna consciousness? Do everything for Krishna, because that's what is. I don't know how to learn, or still to learn, or still to have more love in my heart, I don't know how it's gonna come.
Good, and I'll talk about that. But the question that I was asking was that, and very good. I'm very happy that you gave not only the Lakshmi but also gave Krishna consciousness. That's very, very important. And also, I would suggest that sometimes what happens is that, and this will come with practice, Meera Mataji. So don't take it otherwise. That we have prasadam, right? You made rice and garbanzo beans, black beans, right? You made that. And you had this thing in your heart that they might not like things without onion and garlic. Right? It could just be a thought. It might not necessarily be true. Right? However, if you want to add flavor, you can add other flavors, like add Greek flavors, oregano, and add strong flavors, clove, right? Yeah, cardamom, because they're looking for flavor, right? So they like, because after all, those who eat onion and garlic, they also eat ice creams and cake, which don't have onion and garlic. So that means that it's not necessarily that people who eat onion and garlic will only relish onion and garlic. They relish fruits don't have any onion and garlic in it, right? Bread doesn't have onion and garlic usually, right? So like that, but very, very, very good work there. But the question that I was asking those who are here is that, think and tell me that did you at any point in time do something for others? And Sukomal Radhe Mataji has raised her hand. So let's see what Sukomal Radhe Mataji has to say.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Not for others so much, but I feel when I go to the temple every week to iron Srila Prabhupada's outfits, that is one service I do without expecting anything in return or anything, with no expectations. I just do it as a selfless service, and I get attached to that. So
that's very good. So that's a very good example of ironing, because she's ironing for Prabhupada. She's not going to wear those clothes. Right? Okay. Very good. Anybody else? Sumi Mataji, go ahead.
Hi, Mataji. I can try to put my video on.
Please do.
Hi.
Very good.
So like for me, book distribution, the last few months or so, I've been doing book distribution with one of my god brothers, and every time I do book distribution, it's just completely I feel from my heart, it's like for the benefit of the person that I'm reaching out to. So I think that's I try to do that selflessly without getting anything in return. I mean,
and why do you think people do things selflessly? What would be the motivating factor?
I think recently I also kind of realized that and this was also kind of said in a program that I attend, that whenever it's something material, we have a tendency to hoard it for ourselves. But when it's something spiritual, devotion, bhakti, we really want to share it with others. It's just really, you just want to give that blissful feeling to everyone, because it's so great, so powerful. It doesn't cost you anything. You're not thinking in a very greedy way. It's just just pure love, and it's very easy to share with other people. So that's my feeling.
So you do it because it's easy? It doesn't cost any money? Is that the reason you do it? Think deeper. That is not the reason you do it. Why do you want to spread Krishna's name? Why do you want to do that? Why do you do that? Why does Sukomal Radhe Mataji go to the temple and iron Prabhupada's clothes? What's her relationship with Prabhupada? Sukal Mataji can tell us. She's the one who's ironing clothes.
Just a devotee doing service, and I feel fortunate that I was handed down the service, so I'm doing it.
That's fine. Why did you take it? I can hand out so many service you won't take.
You hand out very hard.
Why do you think we do things selflessly for others? What is the motivating factor behind it? Remember, it's selfless. So the motivation cannot be name, fame. Why do we do? Give me a very common example of selfless service that happens in society, in every home, in every family.
Oh,
selfless service.
Cooking for family.
Like what?
House
Cooking.
lady.
House lady. What does she do?
She does everything for family.
She does everything for family and doesn't expect
for
anything.
children, for husband, for everybody she does.
So what is her motivating factor?
For love.
Just make them happy.
For
that's
love.
For
Yes,
love.
exactly.
Love for
Looking
them.
at that, it is
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
So Kamal Radhe Mataji's love for Srila Prabhupada
Yeah.
that makes her iron. It was her love for Srila Prabhupada that she agreed to take that service from somebody. Right? People can give you service. You have a choice. You have a free will to take that service, not take that service. So you to be able to do selfless service to Krishna, right? I hear Krishna is saying, Arjuna was talking all about self, right? Me, my parents, my grandfathers, and the generations in my kingdom, and the elder generation, Van Sankara, the citizenship, all that he was talking about, right? But then he was not looking at it from the Krishna's perspective. But later on, like by the time it's 18th chapter, he really understands Krishna, and the love for Krishna awakens in his heart. And although Krishna gives him that choice and says that, and I have told you everything, and you do whatever you want to do. And then he himself says that I will do, and I will fight. And he fought the best war, right? He was a Kshatriya, that was his dharma. And that's what Krishna says, Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshisyami ma sucha. So he's giving that guarantee. He's saying that, surrender everything into me and I will deliver you from all the sins. So if you think that killing somebody is going to incur sins, I am going to deliver you from that. And that's the kind of surrender that he's asking. So then the question is so then we know that in order to be able to do selfless service, our consciousness has to be risen to that level where we love Krishna. Where we love Krishna. And anything and everything that we do is for Krishna. And when your consciousness reaches that stage, it is nirvana for you. Liberation. Why? Because now is when, by relinquishing your control, actually you have got complete control. And by that, how can you achieve and how can you, raise yourself to that consciousness? Through devotional service only. And we will go through it in stages. And I had given a series of lectures on the 9 stages of devotional service, right? Adhav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tha Bhajana Kriya Tha Anartha Nivritti Syat, right? So first it starts with faith. And how will you get faith? Faith you can get in 2 ways. Somebody's causeless mercy, they put their hand on your head and you get it, or by staying in the association of others who have got faith in Krishna. You'll get it from association, right? So Adhav Shraddha, you also get faith from doing good things, like Meera Mataji distributing food and all that strengthens the faith. So these sukritis have got their consequences there as well. So Adhav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So here we are. Sumi Mataji knew about this as soon as she came to know about it. And I told her that, we have got these sessions here and come and see. And if you like it, welcome Chitra Mataji. If you like it, then come and you can join our group, the San Mateo group. But first check it out. And her immediate reaction was that, I don't see any reason why I would not like it. Why? Because Sadhu Sangha. She's craving for Sadhu Sangha. She wants to be in the association of sadhus, right? One day I cancel the class, 1 week I cancel the class, and all of you complain because you miss each other. Because this is Sadhu Sangha. Matchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And what are we doing? We're not talking about saris and diamonds and jewelry and this and that. All that we're talking about is Krishna, and we're glorifying Krishna. And that is what we really like. Do you like that, Sutapa Mataji? Okay, good. Yeah. There you go. And she's in New York. It's pretty late in the night. It is for her as well as Sumi. So, Sumi, you have got somebody in your local area. And we have Vindhyavali Mataji also in the East Coast. And the rest of the others are here in the West. So we have to raise our consciousness. So, Adhav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So once we have faith in Krishna, but it's a faith which I, in one of the lectures, had also talked about. It's like a banyan tree. You can sway it in either direction. Maybe there is Krishna. Somebody comes and gives you 6 arguments why there is no Krishna. You start believing there is no Krishna. Then somebody comes and says, give you 6 other arguments why there's Krishna. We sway in this direction. We sway like a banyan tree, right? But you do other, but because of Shraddha, you will come to Sadhu Sangha. You go to temple, Sadhu Sangha. Ata bhajana kriya. Then you see that, why is it, what does such Somal Mataji do with her hand in a bag? One day you can ask her, what are you doing? Oh, I'm chanting. Then you start seeing that everybody is chanting. Okay, I should also chant. So you start formalizing your devotional practices. Bhajana kriya. You take initiation, take shelter. Tata bhajana kriya. Adau Shraddha tata sadhu sangha tata bhajana kriya. So when you do all this, what's going to happen? Anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti. So artha. Artha means gain. And anartha is anything which doesn't give you gains. So we have to first understand what is gain. What exactly is the real gain? In the commerce world, we will talk about that, gains. Company has got gains. And we talk about risk of losing that gains, right? Everything is about gain. What do I gain from this? What do I gain from that? What do I gain? If I do this, what do I gain? I gain. But the real gain, the real artha is that you find through your activities, what are you doing? If you are able to find out your relationship with Krishna, sambandha gyan, right? And then you go and do the process, abhideya, which is devotional service, book distribution, Krishna Katha, all that, abhideya, and ultimately reach the prayojan, which is the goal. And what is the goal? Krishna prema. So artha is anything, gain is anything that leads you to ultimate goal of human life, that is Krishna prema. And anything that doesn't is anartha. So anartha nivritti. So by doing devotional service, your heart will be cleansed. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that. So cheto darpanam arjanam will happen when you chant the holy names of the Lord. So then what happens is, then nishtha comes.
Steadiness.
And that is, steadiness comes. Originally, there won't be any steadiness. Originally, they'll be like, if you ask somebody like, how many rounds are you chanting? I'm ashamed to tell you, right? Because, some days it's 8, some days it's 6. Oh my goodness. If I tell Sukumal Radhe Mataji, yesterday it was 8 and today it is 6, what's going to happen? I'm not going to talk about that. Because I sway in this direction and that direction. But when the nishtha comes, and I ask Sumi, how many are you doing? Is it 16? Oh, Shraddha Mataji, I'm on 32. Like that. So it strengthens like that, So it's a gradual step. It's stages, and stages by stages you go through that. So nishtha. Then asakti. You like doing it.
Attached.
Yeah. You get attached to your service. And somebody comes, and then one day Sukumal Radhe Mataji enters in the temple and sees that somebody already ironed Srila Prabhupada's clothes. Anybody in the mundane world will think like, oh, very good. Like if somebody irons my clothes, I'll be very happy. But because of the asakti, because of the attachment to that seva, she gets angry. She'll say, why did somebody else do that? I was the one who was doing it for Srila Prabhupada. This attachment, right? Like that. So there's taste. Actually, before that, a taste comes. Taste for doing it. You like doing it. And then asakti, get attachment. And then bhava. Bhava is a stage when you, at the 8th stage, is when you start getting a little glimpse of Krishna. Krishna might show himself to you. So it comes at a very high stage, later stage in life. It can take many, many lifetimes. Even for anartha nivritti, it can take many lifetimes, depending on how much anarthas we accumulated. So anartha nivritti. And then we go to the last, so bhava. During the bhava stage, you are chanting your holy names of the Lord. You might even see in your heart. Seeing in the heart basically means when you close your eyes and things flash in front of you, you start seeing the pastimes of Krishna. And you do that. And then again, we have to remember not to pretend to do that, because we have the sahajiyas who will come and say that, Krishna told me you are a peacock, so I just walk like this now, not like that. So anartha, so at the last stage, we can have some fun, right? In Krishna Katha. So we don't do that. And then the last stage is prema, which is intensified. Bhava, when intensified many, many million times, becomes prema. And when you reach that stage prema, like a mother who does selflessly things for Krishna, a person in love with Krishna will do everything for Krishna. because you're doing everything for Krishna's stage. And that is what brings the maximum peace of mind in your life, because now anything and everything that you do, you are actually connecting it with Krishna. And I'll give you a very, very different example. I can say, well, when I'm cooking for Krishna. When I'm buying something, I used to buy jewelry a lot, but I don't buy jewelry now, but I buy jewelry for Radha. So I'm doing it for Radha. I'm doing it for Krishna. Those are the easier things to do. Easier things to do. The more difficult is when somebody comes and misbehaves with us. Now we will sit and think, how does Krishna want me to behave with this person? Because I'm doing it for Krishna. Then you have to first, now Krishna is not going to come and tell you, oh, Mr. XYZ behaved badly with you, right? Now you have to come, Shastra is going to come to your rescue. That's why we need knowledge. So what is the knowledge that you have about other person? From Shastras, what knowledge do you get? From a Shastric perspective, if you look at Sutapa Mataji, from the Shastric perspective, who is she? And let's have some answers here. Okay, electronics, yes.
Soul.
Okay, Vindhyavali raised her hands first by a microseconds. Electronics is telling me that. And she's on mute. You lose points if you're on mute. Mute still.
Okay. So what did you say, Mataji? Sutapa Mataji?
Okay, over to Sumi.
Nothing else.
Yeah, let Sumi answer, then you'll know the question. Go ahead.
Shastra says that like this person is a spirit soul.
That Sutapa is a spirit soul. Okay, Shastra tells us that. What else? I want you to dig into the Shastras and tell me more.
She comes to the class seriously.
Sorry?
She comes to the class. She wants to have the association.
Okay, so this Jiva soul has got a nice relationship with Krishna and wants to listen to Krishna Katha. Okay, very good, very right. What else does Shastra tell? Her origin. What is her origin? She comes from where?
India. Bengal.
West Bengal.
West Bengal. Okay, well, that's the body.
Yes.
I'm talking about the soul. Come on.
That this person is blissful, like they're Sat Chit Ananda.
Okay. So she's Satchidananda. She's smiling at that. Okay. About her origin, where did Sutapa
Kingdom
come
of God.
from? The kingdom of God. Okay. So she came from kingdom of God, but what is her original? Who created her?
Krishna.
Krishna created her. That she knows, right? She answered. Okay. So now if we ask the same question of Sukomal Radhe Mataji, her origins?
She's part and parcel of Krishna.
She's part and parcel of Krishna. And anybody here in this class who's not a part and parcel of Krishna?
We're all.
No.
We are all Mataji.
We are all part and parcel of Krishna? Okay. So now you know that whenever we are interacting with others and we are doing everything, we are completely surrendered to Krishna. So when we are thinking about surrender to Krishna, we are thinking about that everything I do is for Krishna. Now this person is misbehaving. Let me first find out what is this person's relationship with Krishna. Right? And once you know that that person is also part and parcel with Krishna, now our reaction is going to be different. Right? From wanting to go and slap left, right, and center and put that person to senses. And now we will say, okay, now this is also a part and parcel of Krishna. What happened for this person to behave like this? Now let me see what I can do. Okay, that person doesn't listen to me for various reasons. Maybe he's so mad, or she is mad, so doesn't want to listen to me. Maybe because of the position, they don't want to listen to me. Maybe they're drunk, they don't want to listen to me, right? Then we will try different techniques and tactics, right? Depending on how accepting they are to whatever you want to tell them. Okay, so this surrender to Krishna is very, very important. And I'd like to read a few verses to you about surrender and what is surrender. An example of surrender here, right? So let me start sharing my screen again with you. And we'll talk about this. So please confirm that you are able to see the screen that I'm sharing here with you. Have you heard of this Markine Bhagavad Dharma? Have you heard these words?
No.
Bhagavad Dharma.
Oh, Mataji.
No.
Okay. So this Markine Bhagavad Dharma is actually a poem that Srila Prabhupada wrote when he came to the Boston Harbor in the September of 1965, which is almost how many? 35, almost 55 years, almost, we are in October 16, 17, right? Almost 55 years ago. And so I won't go through the Bengali because I'm going to just spoil the Bengali and Satapa Mataji will not like it. So I'm just going to go through the translations here. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. Complete surrender. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of this population here is covered by modes of material ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste, ruchi, for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. Think, we are going reversing right back to 55 years ago. Prabhupada, when he put his foot on American soul, two things, he surrendered, and all these fears he's sharing. How will these people ever learn? And the rest is history. But I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? Oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. All living entities have come under the control of illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. Submissive reception. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed. And loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. At the time loving service is established in the heart, the modes of passion and ignorance and lust and desire disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes happy. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man rejuvenated by the loving service to the Lord gains liberation from material association and comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. Thus the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions, karma, is terminated when one sees the self as the master. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the corner of the heart will disappear. And that partially answers your question, Meera Mataji, as to how will you reach that level where it is completely selfless service, right? So you have to reach that platform of prema or love for the Lord. And to reach that stage, we have to go through this cleansing process. And by listening to Krishna Katha and doing this devotional service, all the inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart are going to disappear. And then Prabhupada says, how will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and most fallen. So look at his humility that he's calling himself these words. Therefore, I'm seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. This is a fantastic mantra for all of us to have. I am powerless to do things on my own, because unless and until we get into this particular mood, we will never be able to surrender. This is one of the two big drawbacks that we have towards surrendering to Krishna. One is that we are in the wrong association. We are in the association of non-devotees. And the second is that I think that I have all the powers to be able to do whatever I do in life. I'm very smart. I'm very beautiful. I am very powerful. I have got rich relatives. I've got powerful relatives. I'm very popular, so on and so forth. And I'll be able to do things by my own, right? And that, as long as we have that mentality, we'll never be willing to surrender. But when we get into this mood that I'm powerless to do things on my own, and this is not that we put our hands back and say, I'm powerless to do anything on my own, I won't do anything. It's like we will still be doing things for Krishna, but as we are on the path of doing things to Krishna, as Prabhupada is right now, he's just landed in the Boston Harbor, and he has got this huge instruction from his spiritual master, and that is to teach the Vedic knowledge and impart the Vedic knowledge to people in the West. And he's saying, I'm powerless to do so, but he says that, somehow or other, oh Lord, you brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. Oh Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. After reading that, Amar Kine Bhagavad Dharma, what more do we have to say about surrender? Right. Is that a new hand, Sumi, you raised, or is it an old hand still raised?
I'm so sorry. Yes, just
the old hand. Okay, yeah. So comments. We have gone over our 7 o'clock timeline, but since we didn't meet last week, I just thought we'll spend a little bit extra time here.
Like Sukomala Mataji, when I go and cook in the kitchen, Mataji, Sundays, I just forget outside world at all. I just don't know. And the way I cook, everything comes out good. But we don't taste anything before offering. But that comes out good. And when I go into the kitchen, everybody says, you are getting tired. Why are you coming? It's too hard, this, that. But, when I'm there, I forget everything. I'm so happy. I'm looking forward for that day, Sunday.
Yeah, Ruchi.
Every Sunday. I don't know why. Because it is, after I come home, I know I take some medicine at the Tylenol or something, I'll go to bed. But until then, I don't feel anything standing all the time and doing. I just don't feel anything. If I come home and then sit, I know my knees are hurting, my legs are hurting, something or other I feel. But I don't feel anything there. That is, I think, Krishna's mercy.
That indeed is, yeah. So,
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, very nice class, but I have to leave.
All righty. Take care. It's 10 o'clock,
so
10:15, almost 10:39. Thank you. Yeah. So
Hari
tomorrow
Hari.
morning for the brave, we're going to have a short class at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, where we pick up a verse from the 15th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, which will be same Zoom channel. And we pick up verse, and all that we do is learn how to pronounce in Sanskrit. And I'm encouraging everybody. We finished one chapter, chapter 12 already over a few months, and doing only one verse a day. And tomorrow, and this time, I'm encouraging everybody to start memorizing the verses also. So like that. So Tapa Mataji, I know you are a permanent fixture. I hope you're able to make it tomorrow.
Yes, Mataji.
So for you, it's
Hari
only it's 9:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anything else anybody wants to add here about surrender, about love for God, about the military orders that Krishna placed on Arjuna, or anything else that you heard, or any questions that are nagging you? I'm here for you.
One thing I feel, Mataji, when Krishna gives all the instructions to Arjuna, he tells everything, you're a Kshatriya, you have to do, and these people are, if you don't kill them also, I'm already did them. But all these things he will tell, all the chapters, and then he'll say, okay, whatever, I told you everything, do whatever you want at the end.
Free will.
So I feel that, when we sometimes kids, when they are naughty, and we tell them, we just don't do this, don't do that, and he won't listen. Then after a little while, do whatever you want, we leave it. That's how I feel all the time. Krishna says that. So,
yeah, Krishna says that, but the way Krishna was saying it and the way we say it, there's two different things, right? We are saying out of frustration. First, we told them to listen to us, and then when they didn't listen to us, then we said, you do whatever you like, right? But Krishna's equation is very different. He starts with free will. He created the Jiva souls and gave them free will, because what he wanted was love. All that Krishna wants is love, and love cannot be dictated. Love has to come from a person's
it has to
free
come
will,
from.
right? And that's why even to Arjuna he said, now you do whatever you want to do.
That's one thing. Love is one thing we cannot read in the books, or we cannot demand from anybody.
And you can't, yeah, it has to come out of ability, otherwise people will fake it.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And then that is not true love, right? So true love for Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, that we said. We talked about that, right? And when once we reach those higher stages of true love, and I was talking about that, when you surrender to Krishna, this surrender to Krishna is actually sweet surrender. Like in the real world, when we hear about the word surrender, right, it's usually in terms of war. You were fighting a war, your enemy was very strong, he was about to kill you, and then you said, okay, to save my life, let me surrender. Right? So there was a reason and a selfish reason for surrendering there. And then there is no love. I don't love my opponent. I am not surrendering to the opponent because I love him. Right? But when you surrender to Krishna, that surrender is surrender in love. And so to do that, to come to that stage, you have also got to understand and read about Krishna and read about yourself and know about yourself also. And when we know about yourself and we know how insignificant we are in front of Krishna, then the poetry like the one that Prabhupada wrote when he landed in Boston, that kind of poetry is going to come out of our heart, where we are saying that we are nothing, we are useless, we are unfortunate. Krishna, I'm a puppet in your hand, you make me dance whichever way you want to dance. I've come here to teach, but you have to put the words in my mouth, and so on and so forth. Right? So surrender. So this surrender is actually a sweet surrender. It's such a nice thing. After you surrender to the enemy in a material war, what does the enemy do? He throws you in a jail. What happens to us when we surrender to Krishna? He takes us out of this jail. That's the biggest difference between surrender to Krishna and the material surrender that we have. So this is really, really a sweet surrender. So we should aim for that. And but Krishna is telling that to Arjuna in this particular verse here. Yeah. That just aim for that and try to do that thing there. Yeah. So then once you surrender to Krishna, and once you reach that highest stage of devotional service, when your relationship with Krishna is of love, then you start controlling Krishna. So it's an amazing thing that after you surrender, then you get to control Krishna. Look at Yashoda Maiya. She runs after Krishna with a stick. Right? Look at Hanuman. Now these are days of Dashera. Right? So the Ravana. And look at the nice, amazing story of Ravana. And I will stop on that wonderful note. And this is that Ravana, he wanted Lanka. He wanted many things as well, right? So he wanted sovereignty. So what was he doing? Whose devotee was he? Who was he praying to? Shiva, right? So he was praying to Shiva, and he was doing tapasya for 10,000 years or something like that. He did, right? And in the end, what did he do in the end? When
he gets the boons from Shiva.
No, when his prayers were not fructifying. When he was not getting what he needed from the yajna, what did he do? He cut off his head and he threw it in the yajna, right? And once one head cut off, he's putting another head cut off, he's putting all that, right? And so ultimately Shiva is pleased and he grants him the boons. So Ravan had to cut his head in order to get Lanka, right? Vibhishan, what did he do? He bowed his head to Rama and he got Lanka too. So you see, when you are dependent on your prowess, you will have to cut your head. All that you have to do for the same results, you have to just bow your head. Vibhishan bowed down his head to Rama. And when Ram won the war, what did he do? He gave Lanka to Vibhishan for free. So that is what surrender to Krishna brings you in life. It's very, very important. So that's why this verse is the essence of Bhagavad-gita, what we did today. Surrender is difficult, but it'll come. The fact that we gave up onion and garlic is surrender. The fact that you get up in the morning and read from scriptures or chant is surrender. The fact that you say that I'm going to first take a shower and then cook for Krishna is surrender. So surrender happens, it is happening. So don't think that's impossible and it's not happening, or I'm not surrender. When will I surrender? I'm not qualified to surrender. I'm not good enough to surrender. All those things will happen naturally. Don't worry for you. Okay.
Thank you
May
very
I
much.
take a leave right now? Yeah. Vanchikalpatrubhyascha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande.
Very nice class, Shraddha Mataji. Thank you so much for taking out time.
Well, I enjoy your association, so that's what it is.
So are we starting next week then?
Starting next week, I wish I could. At least let me not skip Saturdays. That would be
when you're saying when the class you're saying that I'm busy, I cannot do this chanting, I cannot do that. But Shraddha Mataji, you're making time and you're giving us class.
Yeah.
You're going with Guru Maharaj, with other things also you're attending. Though you have busy schedule of your work. Is that right?
Well, partially right. Not partially, because I had to give up a lot of other devotional services that I could do to handle that. However, but it's a very interesting thing that, and I was talking to Sumi also about it, that in the beginning, at my work, I had about 12 projects to handle, which was about 3-4 people's work. And somehow the situation was like that, I had to do it. And so because of that, I had to keep long hours. And so, when you keep long hours, you can't get up early in the morning. And so your sadhana suffers because of that. And at one point, I was just thinking that, Krishna, I'm missing out on that part to be able to do my chanting in the morning and complete everything in the morning and then go to work, which I could do that when I used to work earlier and things like that. And the moment I started thinking like that, certain things happened, like Modi in India came up with some regulations in India on how credit cards are going to be used, or how companies are allowed to charge things to credit cards. That went and affected a project that I was doing at work, and that project was put on hold. So you see, somewhere in some corner of the world, something happens, and you get some free time. You get some free time, and then, then one of our projects that I was working on became absolutely, I inherited a bad product. It went from bad to worse. And so they had to pull in the troops from all the other projects and to put into this particular project. So some other project manager who was handling those other projects, he said, well, all my people have been taken and put into your project. What am I supposed to do? So then my manager said, take some of her projects. So, then I went and said, okay, take that one. If you don't like it, you take this one, like that. So the day, even that small thought came into my mind that, Krishna, I'm missing the morning part, Krishna immediately started, taking things into his hands. So till we don't do that surrender, till that thought doesn't come to our mind, and as long as we can say that I'm going to manage it, bring on, I can manage 12 projects in hand, and it doesn't matter, I can live without sleeping, I didn't die the last 3 months, So as long as that thought is there in mind that we can do our things by ourselves, then Krishna will say, okay, then do it. You want to do it, but if you surrender.
To that point, when we come, then Krishna definitely helps us.
Yes.
Just when we think, what can I do? I want to do, but I'm not able to do it.
Exactly.
Then he will come to you.
Yes, yes, Draupadi.
Till then, he'll also play with us. So how we'll manage and what we do. But that point, he will come and rescue.
Yeah.
That I experienced already.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you very
on
much.
that
for
happy note, yeah, let's call it a day here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande Hari
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Thank you so
Bol.
much for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Shraddha
Hari
Mataji.
Bol.
Thank you
To
so
all
much.
the
Hare
devotees. Thank
Krishna.
you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Pranam.